made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 315 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Nate Zeleznick, and if you want to hear more about the tone of vision, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today we have Nate Zeleznick with Vibrovision, and this guy is going to open up our audience to a whole nother concept of health and healing, and the way that the innate intelligence speaks to man, the physical, to man, the spiritual. And I think it's pretty awesome that you're breaking some ground with the research and development that you and your team are doing, helping people understand vibrational frequency. And I think that that's something that it definitely has a resonance with me, because I think more people need to understand, like, if you told me somebody has bad vibes, yeah, I get it. But what happens when somebody has good vibes, and how can we make that better? So that's a really cool thing to talk about. But before we roll into this, I just want to set some ground rules for people, letting us know about Chiro Hustle. We do protect free speech in the chiropractic profession. We support subluxation-based chiropractors, and we do support innate intelligence and universal intelligence. And with that being said, welcome to the show, Nate.
Jim, Luke, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be back here again. A lot has happened not only in the world, but especially in our world and what we're doing for the world since the last time we talked about a year and a half ago. And I'm just tickled to be here with you guys.
Well, jump on in with us, man. Tell me about the projects that you're on. Tell us about Vibravision, and we'll go back and forth and do some Q&A with you over the next 30 minutes and see if we can share some good information with people today.
Nice. Well, as you were mentioning, we live in a vibrational world. You know, whether people believe it or not, and I'm sure all of the people who are watching or listening to this podcast understand that we all vibrate. Everything in the world has energy, is energy. And there's a very famous DC out there named Joe Dispenza who explains it this way, that all things in the universe vibrate, all vibrations have a frequency, and all frequency carries information. Well, what Vibravision is, it is a unique method that has been passed down for over 500 years in the Indonesian royal family of Java. You know, most people have heard of Java because they drink it every morning. I have a cup right here, but it's if people are familiar with Jakarta, well, that's the capital of Indonesia, and it's on the island of Java. And this royal family, for 5 centuries, they had developed a method of breath work, body movements, body postures, exercises, drills, and I would say exercises, and also breath work and energy work unlike any in the world, that help us truly become superhuman in a way. So what this does is, well, I should start off, how did this come here? First of all, most people have never heard of it. So we call it Vibravision, and it comes from a martial art called Merpati Putih. Now, I know that sounds funny, but Merpati Putih means white dove in the Indonesian language. Now, this had been a closely guarded secret within this royal family in their palace for about 450 years, until 1963, when it was released to the Indonesian public, because they were having a coup d'etat, and the military had killed over 500,000 people within 6 months' time. So since this was going on in the 60s, these royal heirs to this knowledge, they decided they were going to help the citizens of Indonesia. So they released this knowledge to help people defend themselves, but also really connect to the energy that we are, and realize that when I hurt you, I hurt myself. And they started this in 1963, but they did not allow any non-Indonesians to learn this until 1998. So in 1998, the universe sent me a sign by showing me a blind woman after I had seen a demonstration of Vibravision on a VHS tape. And this blind woman, well, she almost died in front of me by her dog, her seeing eye, her guide dog, doing the wrong thing at a traffic light. And it hit me like a lightning bolt. I have to find out if those Indonesian people that I saw on this tape of martial arts, I wonder if they can help blind people here. And it was a calling. And so I reached out to them and I contacted them and sponsored the very first demonstration of Merpati Putih in the United States, knowing that I was just going to be a helper. I wouldn't be allowed to train because I'm not Indonesian. You probably noticed. And at the end of their visit, they introduced us at the start to this Indonesian guy who was at the airport. And they said at the end, he's going to be your trainer. Now, my brother, Mike, who already had numerous black belts in different arts before this, he jumped on the bandwagon with me. And ever since then, under the training of this individual and going back to Indonesia several times, bringing instructors here to America to teach and train and test us, we've been kind of like the ghost in the darkness. If you remember that movie, those brother lions that would go out, but we're not killing anybody. What we're doing is we're the ghost in the lightness. So we're going out and we're enlightening people's lives and helping them see and do things that they never thought possible. And we've been doing this for 23 years. But now with COVID, it's changed everything for us. Because it forced us out of a pigeonhole, which we put ourselves in, of teaching only people in Ogden, Utah. Now, if you've never heard of Ogden, Utah, most people haven't. Well, now a lot of people have, because we're doing things that we never thought possible. We never thought we could do. And what that is we're doing immersive courses where we can bring people in from all over the country. And my brother, being a genius that he is, condensed decades of our training into days worth of education for people who want to come in and learn what we do and go from hello to holy crap in just a couple of days and really unlock a different sense that they didn't know that they had. So a lot of people think we only have 5 senses. And if you lose one of them, the other ones will pick up for that one that you lost, right? That's a very common misperception. Well, vision is our strongest our strongest sense. It's the one that we rely upon the most. Unless we don't have it, then of course that's not an option. But most of us don't ever think about what would it be like to close your eyes and never open them again. And yet we have about 21 million blind people. So that depends on what you consider blind. But from what I read, about 21 million blind people in the United States, people who are legally blind. Well, with this technology, it doesn't replace canes and dogs, but what it does is it is an addition, a new non-visual skill that gives people without sight a new way of perceiving the world vibrationally, because we are vibrational beings and we have a lot more than 5 senses. The ancient Egyptians said we had 365. Well, what we're doing is we're unlocking new potentials in people that they didn't know was there, but they've been dormant. And I can tell you this, we have been on quite the ride in the scientific and the medical realms, as well as with blind people in the past 23 years. You know, it did take 23 years to become an overnight success for us, but it's been so worth it. And now it's amazing who we're able to help and the reach that we're able to have. And it's all due to COVID. So strange that it would be something like that. But I think that's happened for a lot of businesses.
And so I'm kind of curious, how does this technology correlate or interact with chiropractic at all? Do you work with
wonderful
chiropractors, or just kind of bridge the gap for me?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. So one of the things that I love the most about the chiropractic profession is that chiropractors actually understand and know on a deep level that everything vibrates and everything is energy. Muscle testing to find out what is going to be the best treatment, and letting somebody's subconscious communicate and somebody's energy communicate to the doctor to then provide something to relief for the patient, or something for an adjustment, whatever it may be. That's what I love most about chiropractic, because they actually go into the nuts and bolts of the quantum of what we actually are, which is energy. And so when we have chiropractors, and we've had quite a few, come through our program, it accentuates everything else that they do, because now, instead of, say, just muscle testing, some use a pendulum, other people, they have different methodology. This helps them have a new skill, which they can then use with their patients, because they can, quote unquote, see in their mind's eye by body scanning what's happening with a patient. And that helps them help their patients even more. So we don't do, subluxation adjustments or things like that in our academy, and we don't teach that. Not our forte. But what we do is we teach the people who do those things they have one more arrow in their quiver. And not all chiropractors are this way, but all the chiropractors that I'm friends with, they are always looking for another way to help people, because they are interested in the healing of a person, not just in the Band-Aid.
Just listening to your question, Luke, there for Nate, it's really inspiring to me, because a lot of times, Luke, when we talk to one of our guests, they will explain to us on very specific chiropractic terminologies of how they help people. But what we don't get a lot of them talking about is how they help the emotional resonance of people and the chemical resonance of people, which is a vibrational frequency that most of the time becomes manifest in a physical form. So
Correct.
There's three things that cause a subluxation within a person: thoughts, traumas, and toxins. There's physical, chemical, and emotional stressors that put a load onto the body that we manifest. And a lot of times it will manifest in our nervous system, and it will create dysfunction in the muscular system, cause a dysfunction in the glandular system, the elimination system. So what I feel like what you're doing is you're helping the practitioner up their ability to work with a client to better understand where they might have an energetic low point, or where they might need some assistance to re-engage that nervous system to start functioning better.
Absolutely. So in that spirit, a lot of the people that come to us are in the medical profession or chiropractic profession, but also business owners, entrepreneurs, very high net worth individuals who are looking for something to help them calm their body down. Because if they're in sympathetic dominance all the time, they are just destroying themselves by improper breathing, through overstress. Cortisol is, even the CDC says on their website that 90% of all diseases are caused by stress. We get it. Well, but what if you don't know how to mitigate that? We have a system that actually teaches people a formulary to help them do that. So not only that, but tapping into our intuition. And people talk about intuition all the time, but how do you know if it's your intuition or if it's just your mind playing tricks on you, right? So that's one of the things about the Vibravision system is people use it so that they can rely on their intuition, whether it's to help a patient or whether it's to do a 9-figure real estate deal. People use this because when we teach people how to feel, and I mean truly embody and feel in the depth of their being, the proper or right answer to a question, or let's take it to another stage of, say, with blind people. If somebody who is blind can use their hand like a sonar, if you will, to send out energy and catch that wave back and tell, oh, there's something right there. Right there, there's something. Okay. Well, once you get skilled enough at it, just like with reading, all reading is shapes. We see the contrast. If you have black lettering on black paper, you're not going to see the letter. That's all that we're doing when we're learning how to read as kids, is we're determining that shape means this. Well, when you start to receive these frequencies and you're able to say, oh, this frequency, this feeling, this intuition means this. When you're able to whittle this down and really narrow it into a focus where you can use this with your patients, this is this, or this means this. You're going to be able to, it's going to be another skill for any chiropractor, any naturopath, any MDs, if they have an open enough mind, because we do have MDs that come through our program. Whoever it is, if they're going to be working with the body, helping them to do so more effectively, efficiently, and accurately. You can't ask for anything more than that, because when it boils down to it, as far as I am concerned, I speak only for myself, but service to others is the highest calling. And this is something that is based around, I mean, hey, I brought it here to help blind people. This is all about helping people. So people who help people really resonate with what we do and they're attracted to it.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle. Yeah, and going back to, human interaction and the way that we decode, we all know when somebody is low tone or low vibration, and they're like, just energetically off. We can tell when some people like are in our space, and you're like, man, there's just some energy BS there. And I think a lot of times when somebody's like not feeling well, and they come into a chiropractic clinic, and they get adjusted, they'll go back and ask them about this. But they'll go back and ask them like 7 weeks later, do you know why you originally came in here? And a lot of the times the people will be in such an acute state that they won't remember why they initially came in for care.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about the representation of where somebody comes into the field when it comes to people. And a lot of the techniques that are out there in chiropractic aren't just the osseous, high velocity adjustments. There's a tonal approach, and there's a tonal approach to getting the frequency to move back through the body again and to get the tone back into the body. So that's when, on the other end of the spectrum, we have good vibes. Yeah. And you can tell when somebody's in the room with you and they're like made for like just feeling good energy. You can know when somebody has good energy, when somebody has low tone. And a lot of times when people come into a chiropractic office, they don't come in because they have too much good energy. They come into a chiropractic office because something's off. There's symptomatology going on. They're having something going on with their head, their neck, their back, or their extremities. There's only certain places that people are going to look to. You're like, hey, where's it hurt? And somebody's going to point here. Where's it hurt? Somebody's going to point here. Where's it hurt? Somebody's going to point there. Or what's going on? Well, these go numb, or I got pain down there. So it's very mechanistic when we talk about this. But when the people come in and they do need some type of assistance or some type of intervention, it's usually changing the state of their tone. And we're bringing life back to a place that was absence of it. And we're bringing capacity back to a place that was low tone, even muscle tone, even functionality, nervous system. Those are parts where I believe that we can make a real impact on people. And if you can help the chiropractor, which I call a lot of times when I find somebody like you, I call it healing the healer, is you have to give the healer more tools to use to be able, like you called it, another arrow in their quiver. But I think when you can turn somebody into more of an exceptional reading the field of the person that they're going to be handling with their hands and working on a shift of their tone and helping them back to a restorative state. I think that many times you'll go back and ask somebody what you originally came in for, and they won't remember, or what was the major blockage in your life before you started breaking through with the Vibravision strategies. So I think those are all really interesting things when we talk about the energy fields, the tonal fields, and then how people either have low vibe or good vibe, and then how we can transition from somebody to not feeling good to really thriving again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right. And, that is one thing that's really important as well, that I think most people have probably heard the term that the mechanic's car runs the worst. So many healers have the hardest time healing themselves. They can do amazing things for other people, but man, when it comes down to themselves, granted, I'm not talking about resetting somebody's greater trochanter in their hip and like popping. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something along the lines of when someone is an energy worker or energy healer, and they have their own chronic issues, turning that upon themselves, their own healing gift for themselves, is very difficult. So with what we're doing with Vibravision, it is something that, first of all, strengthens us individually, ourselves, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, if people are looking for that. It's non-denominational, so that's up to the individual. But it helps people. If you have a body, this works for you. If you believe it, awesome, it'll work. If you don't, that's awesome. It'll still work because you have a body. But when it comes down to people in this healing profession, or I should say this, I won't call it healing profession or medical profession, but we'll say in this profession of assisting other people with issues on many levels. When it comes down to individuals who are chiropractors, it's very difficult sometimes for them to heal themselves. And the stronger that you can be for yourself, the more you're going to be able to do good for others. And so I love the fact that we can do that. And we actually have a free course for anybody. We didn't have this last time, Jim. So at our website, people can just go and get a free course at the bottom. And for a lot of people, they're like, oh, I've kind of done something like this. But then they actually do it. And they're like, oh, my God, this is stronger than I've ever felt before. And so that's something that right off the bat for any listeners or viewers, they can actually go get a free gift right now and just experience it for themselves.
Where do they go to get this free gift?
Oh, it's Vibravision.com. So Vibra, like the first part of vibrate, Vibravision.com. And it's right at the bottom of any page. And we have a new website being built right now. It's just not quite ready, but it's something that everybody jumps on, and some people do this free class daily because it makes such a difference.
So my next question is a bit of a two-parter. What are you doing to market this technology? And is it available to the public directly, or is it only for healthcare providers to kind of be in the middle? Like, how does this work? What if someone wanted this today?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so our best form of marketing has been prayer. I'm just kidding. That helps. But no, really, when it comes down to marketing, we're so blessed, and what we do changes people's lives so quickly and so much that referrals have been our biggest marketing avenue. But we are branching more into the online marketing and the digital marketing space to have paid ads and things like that, rather than just relying on organic. So I feel that for us, hiring a virtual assistant who has helped with our posting, so we're regularly in front of people, and hiring an actual web developer who is building our new site and really incorporating so many different things in there has been paramount to us getting this word out. But in the end, like you see an amazing movie, you tell your friends about it. And that's how a lot of it has been coming for us. So asking people for referrals and having a referral structure like an affiliate, or we call it an ambassador program, in effect, that rewards people for sharing this, has been absolutely key for us. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, as far as who this is for, all right. So because, as I mentioned before, this was kept secret for 500 years. And for us to be the first non-Indonesians to ever be allowed to train people in this, we made an oath on our blood. Like literally, we did the whole thing you'd see in Hollywood, like cut ourselves open and signed the contract that before we could give this out. We signed it with our blood, like no joke. It's a martial arts thing. We're a little psycho. What can I say? We don't do things normal. It's got to be old school. Let's do it like we did 500 years ago. So we do have people go through, for our immersion process, the Vibravision full training, we have people go through an actual interview process, background check. We've had people who are not allowed to be around children want to be in our workshops, and just I'm sure you can see how that would not be kosher with us energetically. So we make sure that we have the right people, right? Meaning the people that we have promised to serve coming into our workshops. So that's for our 5-day immersions, which people can find on our website. But when it comes down to the online programs, which we have 2 new online offerings, one is about breath mastery, because a lot of people don't know this, and maybe you didn't know this, but 1 in 8 people will die from air pollution. 1 in 8. That's how bad our air sucks on this planet now. And it's not like you can go anywhere else, right? It's like Spaceballs. You open a can of air, and we didn't even have that. Well, I guess we kind of did. But since breathing is so important, it is the most important biological function that we have. If you think about it, if you stop breathing for just a couple of minutes, you have a real issue. That learning how to do it properly so that we are breathing for our health is absolutely paramount. So that's our breath awareness mastery program. But then we have our energy expansion program, which is the hard style, tense. This is the same exercises that is used in every branch of the Indonesian military and a lot of their police forces, as well as in senior citizens' homes and all over the country, because it has such an amazing health benefit right away, like within minutes. I've seen people who were paralyzed from a stroke start to move and feel within 5 minutes the way they haven't in a decade. So it does have that kind of a power. So those are the things, those are for people who aren't able to come to us, or maybe our immersions are out of their budget, but they still really want the benefits of this system. And they can find that on our website. So we're doing both. In person, there's an interview process. Takes to get in there. We have the online. You can get that right now. And that's for everybody, no interview required.
So let's go back to a topic that I'm really curious about, because you've been mentioning some things about your brother. You've been mentioning some things about this martial arts. Maybe share with our audience some things, like maybe some of your heroes or people that you look up to, or things, maybe some mentors that you've had.
Oh, great. So with people my age, Luke, I don't know, you're much younger than I am, but Bruce Lee, I don't know, some people, man, I've had people in their 40s come to my classes and they're like, who's Bruce Lee? I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like Luke Skywalker. What? Who's Luke? I do know people that have never seen a single Star Wars too, but Bruce Lee, definitely a huge impact watching him. Jackie Chan, growing up watching Jackie Chan, huge. As far as wanting to be a ninja and a Jedi, a ninja-Jedi, whoa, that's what I always wanted to be. Mike and I both. And growing up in little Huntsville, Utah, we spent most of our time trying to assassinate each other. Just, it's a brother thing. So nobody to teach us martial arts, but there was always a stick laying around somehow. And so that, as far as mentors in the martial arts, those are, icons that really looked up to. But when it comes down to the spiritual part, Bob Monroe, the founder of the Monroe Institute, one of the pioneers of out-of-body experience and replicable out-of-body experiences, and training the CIA for remote viewing, all kinds of interesting stuff. Deepak Chopra, another person. I love the fact that he is able to really marry the balance between spirituality, wealth, business growth, and also contribution to humanity. I love that. And those are really the people, like if I had to talk to one person, like if I had anybody in history to talk to, I would really want to spend some time with Deepak Chopra. Or Oprah. Just Oprah too.
Or Oprah. Yeah. Well, just for a little reference for you, I actually want to take Wing Chun courses specifically because of Bruce Lee.
Beautiful.
So he's an awesome role model to have.
Agreed.
So, okay, we're just about at the end of this episode.
Awesome.
I know this has been a little different for us because we're typically used to interviewing chiropractors, and this one was a little different for us. So I think now would be a good opportunity just to kind of let you talk about any final closing words that you want our listeners to know before we all close out for the evening.
You bet, Luke. Thank you so much. I first want to just offer my gratitude to both of you guys. Thank you so much for having me here. Luke, how long do I have? I want to make sure that I respect your time.
You have 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. Okay. So as I close out this episode, I first of all express my thanks to everybody who's watching and listening to this. Hopefully you benefit from what I've been talking about. Hopefully you're inspired. We have that free gift. I encourage all of you to go and enjoy that. And there's a reason that we put that out there that we never did before. We were never allowed to. That whole signed with blood thing, we were never allowed to. But when COVID started taking over the world, the royal family and the whole Marpati Putti martial arts system, they started releasing some of these things online to help people have a stronger immune system and stronger lungs. And so we're just really blessed and honored that we're able to do this and help so many people. And the breath awareness mastery will help you with your patients. The energy expansion program, you've never experienced anything like it, guaranteed. But when it comes down to it, we are all energy. And so, like you talked about, high energy or low energy, high vibration, low vibration, getting ourselves, of course, everybody is hopefully aware that by being in a state of gratitude and harmony and love and appreciation, we're going to strengthen our immune system. Just 15 minutes a day, 24 hours of immune system enhancement. And that's what I do every single day for myself. And I hope that everybody here gets that opportunity, because we have so many things to be grateful for and blessed about. So thank you guys so much for having me. I hope to see some people in our upcoming immersions.
Thank you. That was beautiful. This was a very insightful episode, and I urge our listeners to head over to Vibravision.com and take advantage of that free gift. Nate, I want to thank you very much for being our guest this evening.
Thank you.
I know it was very insightful for us, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great afternoon on purpose, guys.
Yeah, Nate, thank you for being our guest today and being episode 315. And I'm happy to hear that your Vibravision is touching more lives and getting out to more practitioners and people that need your services. So with that being said, man, we want you to have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Have a good one.
See you for now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.